You guys are the terrific team. Live from Los Angeles, BeTerrific shines the BeTerrific Spotlight on E3, only on the BeTerrific Network. Hey Terrifics, I'm Michael Artsis. This is your E3 coverage 2017 live from Los Angeles, California. We're still in the Logitech G Suite, and Logitech G is an amazing company. They make great stuff, and we bumped into some guys who are really awesome. They own esports teams. This is Andy from TSM, and of course we've got Jack from Cloud9. Now, you guys are both well known for the League of Legends. That's where your teams play mostly, but you also have Counter-Strike as well, and you've got some really super famous players on your teams. I guess the first thing I want to know from both of you guys is, how did you get started in owning esports teams? I think that's so interesting to me.
Yeah, so for me, initially when I was gaming, I started a content website that created guides and tools for just casual gamers. And as I played the game more and more, I got really competitive with the game, and so I started hosting tournaments. I started playing in every single tournament that was around. And, you know, just through time, through a span of 2 or 3 years, we started seeing tournaments in, you know, small auditoriums, theaters, etc. And then within like 2-3 years, we started seeing events in like the Staples Center, Madison Square Garden, and I started really early on. I created one of the first League of Legends teams, and just competed since then. And just through competing, I started my esports team because that was like the natural way that we expanded.
How did you start?
Well, it's kind of funny because my first experience working in esports was with him as my boss, as a 17-year-old boss.
That must have been interesting.
Yeah, it was actually great, though. We had a great time working together. I initially was helping him do sales for his website that he mentioned earlier, and it branched off from, hey, can you help me, you know, find money for my website and help out making that profitable, to, hey, can you find sponsors for us? And from there, my experience at TSM led me to make Cloud9.
Very cool. And you don't mind that he's started a competing team then, huh?
Absolutely not. So when I first started in esports, it wasn't as big as it is now. It was more of a hobby for me, actually. And we generated most of our revenue through our media properties, right? And that's what I took seriously. And our esports team was honestly just a hobby for me. And then Jack was really involved, and he had a lot of fun doing it. It wasn't really for the money for him. And as we started to grow it and pick up sponsors, pick up partners, the scene started to grow really quickly, and with live streaming included, the viewership started to explode. And that's when we actually thought there was a huge opportunity to capitalize on how fast the market was growing.
Do you guys kind of work together? I mean, even though you're separate teams, do you work together in marketing and helping each other out and trying and sales and revenue generation?
We definitely give each other a lot of advice, and we talk about the scene, where it's going, how can we make it stable, and what's our part in growing esports.
It's kind of interesting. I'm thinking about this a lot like it's the early days of the NFL, right? Or any sports league, but I think mostly the NFL, because I think back in those days you could more easily start an NFL franchise. You also didn't have to have all the money in the world to start an NFL franchise. Now, to buy a team, you have to be a billionaire, and you have to be able to keep the team afloat for a year without any revenue coming in before the NFL would even consider you. And so it's really challenging, but you guys were able to get in early. But I think that the team owners today have a league, and they have meetings, and they get together and they talk, and they all work on things together. It seems like you guys are kind of doing that, but even though there are leagues, there's no formal like team meetings and stuff, and maybe there are, but it's not like in NFL or in Major League Baseball. But it seems like you guys are kind of the seeds of that. You're kind of the tree just growing.
At this point, there's a really good collection of owners in Riots and North American LCS, and the owners get together and try to collaborate on how we're going to make the league better and how can we make the scene more stable. And so it's really interesting. It's gone from, like, you know, on the field we're enemies, we're going to try to destroy each other, but off the field we're like, how can we make the entire scene better?
And you guys, I mean, did you have money to start this? Did you have to, you know, obviously you had to have some money, but I mean, was this hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, or did you start it with, you know, a couple grand, you grow it, you sign athletes, and you kind of grow it organically a little bit that way?
So at the stage when I started, it was, you know, really low six figures, and as the scene grew, I would probably say mid six figures, and nowadays it would cost like in the seven figures, so close to 8 figures to really start an established team and grow it. and pick up like strong players that the staff needed to be successful.
We're talking about you guys have to have these guys under contract. You have to sign them. You have to feed them, clothe them, train them. You have to give them time to train. I mean, this has to be their only focus. And you also have to probably provide some kind of housing and travel and all these expenses, marketing. I mean, there's a lot of expenses that goes into it, right?
Yeah, it's a very costly adventure, and if you're not ready to pay the cost, you're not going to be able to play effectively. So it's not like it used to be, where you could have a couple $100,000 and let's go make a team. You have a massive staff that's supporting that team, and so it's quite expensive.
Did you build up your money through your other websites, or did you have to take loans and bring on angel investors or anything like that?
So our entire esports team and media properties are funded by me. And when I started my my websites and content tools, I actually started it off with a $5,000 loan from my mom, and I was able to pay her back within maybe 2-3 months or so.
Wow.
But ever since then, we've been able to self-finance it, like with just partnering up with the right people, finding the right partners to just grow our company with side by side.
How about for you?
I had the benefit of actually working with Andy to work at TSM and actually build really good relationships with partners like Logitech. And so when I was looking to start my team, I already had a lot of good faith with Logitech, and they were ready to back me and grow Cloud9. So it was really, I had the benefit of those relationships to lean on. So I was able to start with a modest amount of capital that I put in myself, and then with the support of the sponsors I had, I could grow.
With your $5,000 loan from your mom in prior businesses, have you ever asked her, did you ever think you'd see that $5,000 again?
Honestly, at that point, I was giving League of Legends lessons, right? So I was a really good player at that time. I was #1 on the rank, and I was giving lessons. I was also a grocery boy. So my last job before this was at Trader Joe's.
Okay.
Shout out to them. And I would...
Did you ring the bell?
Yeah. I would stock the milk, get the carts, etc. But I was ready to get that loan myself or self-finance it too, but it was a lot easier with the support of my family.
Yeah. But did she think you were nuts, or did she think, I mean, because I would imagine your mom probably said, all right, he's my son, it's $5,000, I'll write the check. I don't know if I'll ever see this again, but I'm happy to write the check, and I wish him the best.
She thought I was crazy, to be quite honest with you, because, taking a hiatus from school, right? Because
Sure.
at the time I was going to college, is a really big deal. And not only doing that, but also, borrowing money from her to do that. I figured she would give me that money anyways for tuition if I were to go to school. So I'm like, hey, how about you give me that instead of giving me tuition? I won't go to school. She's like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but she really had faith in me, and she knew that I was going to do it anyways. So she chose to support me versus pushing me away, and I appreciate her for that.
This is really a great story. I mean, you guys have become good friends, clearly. You've helped each other grow. You've helped the league grow. You've helped esports grow, and together, your mom took a leap of faith. You probably took a leap of faith on him at some point, and it's really tremendous. How about the fact that you have superstars on your team? I mean, does that surprise you ever?
To be quite honest, not really, because I've been there since the beginning, and I saw these guys grow. So to me, they're just like my friends or people that I work with, more or less. But it's actually astonishing to see how big they've grown. Like one of our players, when we signed him, his name is Bjergsen. He had like 20 to 30,000 followers on Twitter. Now he has over 1 million, right? Wow. So it's actually pretty crazy to see like he's a superstar. He goes out and people recognize him. They want to take pictures with him. I would have never thought that we were here. And even when I started my company, it was more of a passion project and something that I really loved, more so than, hey, I'm going to go in this and try to make, a lot of money.
And I mean, it really is only a few years ago. I mean, you're not talking about that much time, maybe 10 years total. Would that be accurate?
I would say maybe 5 years of like really big dedication within esports. But before then, I was really focused on running my media properties and also just playing.
So it's even shorter than I thought it was.
It's been about 6 actually now, man. Time's flying.
Time's
flying.
I'm getting old.
It's pretty amazing, though. It's a pretty short amount of time. Well, congratulations to you both. I think it's awesome. Thanks for giving us your time. And, I'd love to do more stuff with you. And I hope the best for you guys. I know it's going to go
continue to grow, and it's pretty awesome. And I love that you guys are in like the ground floor. This is basically what the NFL was when it started, and we're getting to watch this as opposed to former generations that they got to watch the NFL grow. So it's kind of amazing, and this is, I think, growing at a much faster rate and clip. And you have superstars on your team. You got great players on yours. Do you ever get the itch to play still, like competitively?
Honestly, I do. Or when I do play games, I'm extremely competitive. That's why instead of playing like multiple games casually, I prefer to just choose one game and like be a master at it versus being a jack of all trades. In my life, I probably had the most fun competing. And if I were to go back in time, I might continue to compete versus, growing my business more. It would be a difficult decision.
He's still a sub on his team.
Put me in, coach. Put me in.
Yeah, he's right.
And where do you think the future is for esports, and specifically for you guys and League of Legends and Counter-Strike?
I've always sort of had that goal to be on par with traditional sports like NBA, NFL. It's it was a dream to see that happen. It's happening faster than I thought it would. We're really actually starting making moves, and we have a long way to go, but that's the end goal.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys very much, Jack, Andy, Cloud9, TSM. I'm Michael. You're the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. Keep watching our E3 coverage live here from Los Angeles, California. Stay with us.
Don't go anywhere.
You guys are the Terrifics.
Live from Los Angeles, BeTerrific shines the BeTerrific Spotlight on E3, only on the BeTerrific Network.